Assalamualaikum and hi to Dr. Nazira and my fellow friends. My name is Muhammad Adam bin Azri, TC20019 from Group 1. Today we would like to present Project 2 presentation, which is Green Practice and Waste to Energy Technologies in Countries. Municipal solid waste, defined as trash, are highly non-homogeneous mixture of residential, commercial, and industrial sectors. As global environmental issues such as rising temperature and climate change receive increased attention. So, my country is Indonesia. The problem of waste management in Indonesia is they need proper waste management, which can lead to other problems such as plastic pollution and can cause amount of greenhouse gases. The volume of MSW has increased quickly and comprise non-hazardous garbage from industrial, institutional, and commercial setting. This can affect the public health for a long term. The objectives are, firstly, to understanding the issue of municipal waste management in Indonesia. Secondly is to review the management of green practice in Indonesia. Next is literature review for green practice. I got three methods from Indonesia. Firstly, recycling. The distributor prepare the recyclable material by cleaning, sorting, packaging, and processing. Then these waste are genuinely sellable or might be donated to people with lesser income. Lastly, although some of these waste are recycled inside the producing city, in general, these waste are sold to other cities or export outside. Next is composting. Surabaya has started a home composting program for organic waste using THC, which is Takakura beans. This technique was successful in obtaining an intellectual property right in Indonesia for a household scale composting process for organic waste. According to the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, the use of this method in Surabaya has led to a consistent 30% reduction in organic waste and also reduce greenhouse gases emission. Lastly is e-waste management. Indonesia was organized PBDE polybromodiphenyl ethers project by enhancing the management of the production cycle and processing of plastic containing PBDE, so it can reduce the chance that the products will catch on fire. They also organize program for collecting e-waste, which is waste for change, which they gathered from home in Jakarta, a rubbish bank, and e-waste drop box. Then a commercial company will sort it and take it. So, in conclusion, it was noted that Indonesia used other methods like recycling, composting, and e-waste management. The existing of this method is expected to bring major change in solid waste management in Indonesia. However, all parties should realize that the existing this method not always permanent to reduce the municipal solid waste problem. So, in my opinion, Indonesia need to propose other methods such as use the innovative technology and also converting garbage to energy by incineration and gasification, which can help lower greenhouse gas emission. However, the government needs to support the solution, like provide fund, even it is expensive, but we can use it for a long term and can save Indonesia environment and people health. So that's all from me. Thank you.
A good day update to everyone. I'm Pei, and today my presented topic is about household waste management through green practices and some of the waste to energy technologies developed in Finland. Did you know that Finland is considered one of the greenest country in the world, and in 2016, it is the country with the highest EPI score, which is the Environmental Performance Index score in the world. Therefore, in this report, the objective is to review on some of Finland's green practices of managing major household waste like food waste, plastic waste, and e-waste, and also to determine its recovery methods. So let's firstly look back at some of the history of how Finland managed its waste through some of the government policy and legislation. It's all tracked back to 1990s, where Finland conjoined under EU memberships, and this has led to establishment of a municipal waste management organization, where they obligated the separation and recycling activities. And then in 1999, where EU landfill directive has established, and this has led to a very important event happening in 2016, which is the banning of landfilling mixed waste and organic waste. And this action plans has definitely changed a lot of how Finland managed to bring waste, especially to development of new waste to energy technologies. And in the latest New Waste Act 2021, it has mandatory action plan to reduce waste and increase the reuse and recycling rate in Finland. Let us now look at some Finland green practices. So to enhance recycling among the public, Finland has established a more organized and centralized waste collection systems. Besides, to encourage more recycling effort from the public, multiple recycle points has been set up in crowded places like residential areas, city center, and also places that's near in commercialized property. Deep collection containers or multi-compartments containers further helps to increase the efficiency of waste sorting and storage systems. Now let us look at some technology utilized by Finland to turn waste into valuable components. Firstly, in terms of food waste, Finland chose to mass composite it. Composting is a process which is low cost and also beneficial to the environment. Composite waste can be lastly turned into organic fertilizer. Besides, Finland also focus in biogas production facility where food waste is anaerobically digested to harvest greenhouse gases like methane gas, which lastly can be useful sources for fuel. Next, in order to minimize the generation of plastic waste, Finland focusing in making recoverable plastics waste back on mini plastic platelets, which can be processed and reprocessed into useful plastic products. Instead of landfilling some toxic plastic waste, Finland chose to actually based on plants to incinerate those non-toxic plastics and turn it in as a source of heat generation fuel. Last but not least, e-waste can be recovered to extract precious metals. It all starts by demantling the devices and going through a series of separation and screening process. And last but not least, the metal is recovered through pyrometallurgy, hydrometallurgy, biometallurgy, or a commonly electrochemical process. In conclusion, government policy and legislation are crucial in cultivating green practices into public and shaping society about the mindset in importance of practicing green practices. Besides, an effective waste collective systems are the first step in ensuring an effective management of waste in the country. Besides, household waste can be reduced through a recovery process and also through using waste to energy technologies. And lastly, circular economy is a new focus in Finland and also in other countries right now, as waste can be reduced and also be used as the new energy sources in the future.
Hello everyone, I'm Meglan Rajendran here. So now I'm going to present about my project 2. The title of my project 2 is Green Practices of Handling Solid Waste Management in Singapore. Okay, the problem statement. Okay, the first problem statement is large population. A large population can cause large extra pollutions. Okay, the second one is waterborne disease, which means sewage system will be polluted with these micro plastics, which will lead to dirty water and spread of disease that will also cause health hazards to human health. Okay, the third one is chemical pollutants. Chemical pollutant means toxic will be released into the water, which will be poison the fishes, and we will then consume these six fishes that the fishermen harvested. Hence, the toxic will go into our food chain and cause health hazards to human health. Okay, the next one is objectives. Objectives of the project is to recognize Singapore's solid waste management challenge and also to evaluate Singapore's handling of green practices. Okay, the green practices in Singapore, that is two, which is incineration and also recycling. Recycling is domestic and non-domestic waste. Okay, let me explain about incineration. Incineration means a solid waste incineration has given top priority over other waste disposal methods. The Engineering Services Department on National Environment Agency is in charge of planning, developing, managing and operating the waste incineration facilities in Singapore. There are 4 incineration plants are already in operation. The 5th incineration plant will be built to the nearest plant by a private sector. Currently, the daily solid waste disposed of in Singapore is about 8,000 tons per day, and 73% of the waste is incinerated daily. Okay, the second green practices in Singapore is recycling. Although Singapore's National Environment Agency adopted the strategy of focusing on volume reduction by incineration, therefore now they are adopted a multi-pronged approach focusing on recycling as it saves energy and conserves resources. The approach includes minimizing of waste generated at source, waste recycling to reduce the amount of waste that needs to be disposed of, volume reduction of combusted waste through waste to energy incineration, and the last one is reduction of waste to landfilling in order to extend the life of Semakau landfill. To overcome the problem of increasing solid waste, so they approach a program which is recycling bins have been placed at the public areas such as the pedestrian walkways of busy streets, petrol stations, commercial areas, and some of residential areas. Literally, 85% of the population and provides similar recycling dispository services to complement the door-to-door collection of recyclables. Okay, the final part is conclusion and future remarks. Solid waste output in Singapore has significantly increased as a result of the country's rapid industrializations and economic growth. Industrial solid waste is the now mainstream of the solid waste after surpassing home solid waste production. About 61% of Singapore's waste is recycled, while the remaining 39% are incinerated and sent directly to the landfills. The future remarks is systematic industrial solid waste management, establishment of new regulations or modification of existing regulations for a more effectively integrated waste management system. And also the last one is alternative incineration ash disposal and utilization. That's all from me, and thank you.